certain that the whole world is in a crisis. And it's not just the world regarding politics or economics. You see nations are in crisis. You see values are in crisis. You see frames that would keep people and society into some stability that are collapsing. And it is a general crisis afflicting every area of human, not only human, but the globe. Ecological crisis, climate crisis, energy crisis, you know, and so it is very difficult for individuals to find a way out and to find their resilience and stabilize themselves in a world which is changing from one crisis to the other. We had, for example, in Greece, we had a very heavy economical crisis for almost 10 years, and thus we were about to recover from that. There comes the coronavirus, which gives a huge blow to the Greek economy and the Greek society and the faith of people in life and in a future. And then comes the crisis of energy and Russia and Ukraine. And now we might have a new crisis with Israel and the Gulf and Islam and the West. And who knows where one crisis will lead to the other. We live in an epoch of severe crises, which are not only local, but because we are, the connections are both political and economical. The whole globe is connected, interconnected in many, many different aspects, economical, energy. We're very connected. So when something happens, it affects the whole globe. Of course, it mostly affects the individual. So the idea, my idea was, what can we do as psychotherapists to help our world? We have our own, let's say, range of effect. I mean, I am a trainer and supervisor and a therapist for many years. So I assist our world through assisting my clients and their families. You know, there is always an effect. If you assist an individual, you always, in some way, assist the system of to which this individual belongs. And then by helping therapists in supervision or in training, of course, you help many more people. And because our knowledge as therapists, I consider it to be most precious and valuable in these difficult epochs. And we need to share it with our world and help our world. I think we need to find ways, like, for example, your webcast. That is a way of using technology to have a reach to more people than I can have, for example, through my office or through my praxis or my trainings. So how do we help the individual? What can assist? What are the main, let's say, resources and ways that we can help not only the persons who come to our office and ask specifically for assistance, and also because this is a matter of finances, of money. Many people are facing poverty. What can they do? Psychotherapy has a certain cost, even for us, that we, I don't know, I'm still in psychotherapy and supervision after all these years. I consider it a matter of responsibility. But for someone who is already in severe economical crisis and cannot afford, what can he do? And how can we reach these people? That is my question, because the crisis that affects my neighbor sooner or later will reach my door. That is my vision. I mean, we see it in Greece all the time. We have refugees crossing the Aegean Sea, raped, massacred, with families destroyed, people drowning in the sea, being abused with trafficking, with kidnapping of children, and being used as sex slaves or porno slaves, or sometimes they say, and I'm not sure, I don't know, but it is being heard that some are used as, for spare parts. So what can you do? You cannot avoid, if the crisis is in Syria, Greece faces this crisis. So crisis is transmitting globally. And how can we help people? For one thing, I always believe, and I always say it, our root is our body. And as body psychotherapists, we teach and we aspire to that, to being in touch with our body. Because once you have a connection with your body, you have a space to connect and contain your emotions, your fears, your desires, your crisis, your trauma. And as we very well know, trauma is in the body. Now, we knew it as body psychotherapists all along. All our lineage was focusing on that, although it was not stating the word trauma, but we knew that the issue is in the body. And so we have a long experience on working with the body, connecting with the body, using the resources of the body to assist the individual in his transformation, in his growth, in his resilience. So we need to offer this knowledge to the world. We need to get out of our office or our training school and try to reach out, because our world is in dire need. And it is part of our human duty to offer to the society, not only to ourselves, what we know and share it and spread it, because it is valuable. And we need to have, as body psychotherapists, we need to have this faith in our work. We see the results, we see the truth of our work and how much it can help. And there are many other, like Borges, like Antonio Damasio, many, many others who confirm that the body is the base of everything, the embodiment. The embodiment of something can reach to a solution, can bring, the solution to a problem. So what are the skills that we need to transmit? Easy things, easy, practices, breathing, working with movement, assisting people in discovering their potential, what they like. They like to sing, they like to dance, they like to practice something that they enjoy, whatever, it's music, it's a sport, to cultivate this relationship of expressing the body and enjoying the body and letting the tension, kind of discharge through movement. What we can add there is add the elements of awareness while doing something. It's like Feldenkrais, it's like Alexander technique, it's all these, or Tai Chi, being aware when you move your body. This is one principle that makes a movement healing and not just gymnastics. So awareness of the body, breathing, teaching to people, you can use just breath to work with a panic attack. With a little breath, you can assist someone, and people are in panic attack, heavily in panic attacks in our world today, in Western society, and not only. But how do we reach there? That is my question too. I've tried, and I try, even your podcast is a way for me to spread out and to reach out to more people, but you're already doing that for a long time. And I am trying to think of ways, blogs, or, find the time to assist in any possible way. Then it's the matter of perspective. That is one of the most important things regarding depression. Depression is very, very strongly connected with lack of perspective. Once there is lack of perspective, you fall into depression. You begin to follow the downward spiral. And there, how can you share a perspective if you don't have a perspective yourself, if you don't have a vision? We need to have a vision. In the old times, the vision was and has always been a better human society, a better world, more loving for our children, our grandchildren, the ones who follow after us, not just think of what we do or who we are or how we enjoy ourselves. And we need to have this kind of perspective as human beings. Otherwise, you can never be satisfied. You're out of your place. I mean, like I very often use the phrase, it's in Greek, to be in your place. I mean, I'm a father. I'm a father. I have taken this responsibility. And by keeping this responsibility in my best ways and caring about it, gives me in integrity and gives me dignity and gives me the power to face what is coming. If I skip my role in society, whatever that is, I'm a doctor, I'm a teacher, a school, if I don't take it seriously and I believe that it's nonsense, it's worthless, it's useless, there's nothing to be done, I give up, then I've lost my position. I've lost my place in the world. And then I'm weak, I'm weakened. So it's very important to keep your place. Doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice. I'm not going to go out and say everything I believe and be crucified like, he was a god and he was crucified. And if I go out, what will happen to me? So, I mean, symbolically that. And so it's not a matter of being a savior. It's a matter of keeping your place in society, whatever you have undertaken. This gives you dignity.
Yeah, let me say something.
Yeah.
Yes, it's important that you are bringing um, uh, the territory where we work.
Yes.
What we do in our territory.
Yes.
And what we do in our territory, I'm very much optimistic about that, in the sense that we know what we are doing, and we know how we are affecting, let's say, the society around us, close to us, inside
Yes.
our territory, and sometimes going into the territory of a friend. Like, for example, I'm going to Greece now, you're coming to Brazil now, and we are in two territories and spreading a bit of our knowledge about what we do. Yes? Good.
Yes. Yes,
Um,
I agree. I agree completely.
I want also to bring another question uh, that is connected to what you said before. How we can go out, or that we have to go out from our office and reach more territory around us, so that we are able to help in improving the quality of a human being. No, and
Yes.
learning from outside our office what's happening, and learning from these people that are not in our office how they are dealing with the human problem, with the human development. Okay, so I have one question for, it's very special because you are talking from Greece, and you are a Greek man, etc. Because look, just by chance, in the last 2 months, I started to read again a book from Plato, which is the Republic. No,
Yes, I know.
and that book was written in 350 years before Christ. And at that time, they had discussions about society and about human beings, right? And they had two interesting discussions, right? One, it was about democracy. At that time, they already have to create a group, which they call it the group that protect democracy. It was the guardians of democracy. At that time, they had to create a group, which the title of the group was Protection from Guardians of Democracy, because democracy was already menaced, threatened by the tyranny or dictatorship of people around. Okay, 350 years before Christ, it was happening like that. And then they have a very important discussion about what is just and what is unjust. And this is a discussion between Socrates and Thrasymachus, I think that's the name, you know. And the discussion goes on and on and on and on. It's a long discussion and very deep discussion where Socrates uses the whole knowledge that he has to protect justice from injustice, right? Mm-hmm. So the question is, why, in fact, if we look at the world now, what's happening in the world now, in many countries now, why the human being did not develop enough to change something so basic?
Yes, yes, I think
I know it's a very hard, difficult question.
It is, but I have been thinking about that all my life. Yes, because I care. Otherwise, you don't become a psychotherapist if you don't care. You care for people, and you care for life and for quality of life, not just survival. Yeah. Because we have survived so far, but it's not guaranteed that we will survive if we don't develop, because our potential to destroy ourselves and our world is exponential, but our capacity to communicate and negotiate and respect each other and have a spirituality that is enough to protect us from abuse of power has not developed enough yet. Because it's like what Gandhi said, that science without spirituality is dangerous. And talking about spirituality, I don't talk about religion necessarily, although it can be also religion. I talk about having a vision of your place in the world and your connectedness with the sources of life. Now, spirituality can be, for example, the experience of the astronauts when they saw our globe from space and their consciousness shifted. They realized that it is a small world and we all belong to that. And we need to protect our world and to collaborate. And this is spirituality. Spirituality is not just being isolated in a mountain or in a monastery, in a cave, and pray. Spirituality is practice of humanity and of your heart in life. Because spirituality does not reside here. Here resides mentality or the mind, the spirit, the spirit of the human being connected with emotions. When without these emotions of affection, of caring, of loving, of connecting, we are lost. This is one of the basic mistakes, I think, that we had in the culture of our civilization, the Western civilization in particular. We developed too much technology, knowledge, data, but we did not develop the capacity to make healthy relationships, to restore broken bonds in families. And thus we have a bonding between mother and son or daughter, and between father and son, is perpetuating the problem and transposing to the next generation. The problems are not resolved, they're just accumulating and have been accumulating for thousands of years. Massacres, genocides, wars, killings, families growing without one parent or the other. For example, in my family, one of the from my mother's side. My grandfather grew an orphan without his parents because they were killed in 1922 in the exchange of populations between Turkey and Greece. They were killed, and my grandfather grew without parents from 5 years and on. Now, this is a lack, this is a gap in my family lineage and in my mother and in myself, which is moving ahead in time. And there was never any knowledge of the necessity to heal these wounds and to fill these gaps with something which will help life to perpetuate in a better way. So my vision is that we need to heal our world, our history, our systems. I am also a systemic constellations therapist. I was trained by Bert Hellinger for many years. And I saw the truth of this hereditary trauma, which is transgenerational, and it is moving ahead and perpetuating and being recreated between different nations, between populations, between members and families in society.
So, can I make a question? Would it be
Yes.
spirituality something like you have respect for the other, whatever the other is, you have respect for the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other, and you receive respect from the other. You respect territories, and you respect differences, diversities, whatever they are. If they don't make bad things against you, you can respect them. Respect means exactly not making bad things against the other, right? And also inequality. It's an important theme too, as you were saying now about poverty, misery, etc.
Of course.
As long as we have such a big inequality around the world, always there will be fights for power, and so human beings to achieve a better life here, would be if we start to look at inequality, with more respect and with more concern, in the sense of finding a way to be in the world, where people do not suffer so much from misery and from violence and from abuse, etc. Right? And that's a hard thing to achieve. Very hard thing to achieve, because we see in the wars nowadays, for example, you see the war in Ukraine or the war now in Gaza and Israel. We can see things, right? There are images for what human beings do to human beings, and they are quite hard to look at that. It's very depressive. It's very depressive to see what the man can do, what a human being can do against another human being, and vice versa, right? And so it's a big question, how to achieve this thing, isn't it?
I totally agree with you that inequality, poverty is the root of crime, of abuse, sometimes in families, poor families, families which necessarily neglect because they're in a kind of survival mode. They cannot have prosperity, they cannot have contact. Sometimes it is people sell their children in Asia or in poor countries. So you become a psychopath. You begin to activate psychopathic elements. You're not connected anymore with life. You're not connected with your neighbor, and you can see that the world is full of wars and conflicts. So, of course, poverty, inequality is a main factor for this. It is perpetuating the problem, but I believe in not in misericordia, that they say in Italian, in how you say this, in giving alms to the poor, like sending a little bit of wheat to Africa after the country has been devastated by civil wars, by control for their mineral wealth, by colonialization. So it is like, you know, you rape and you steal someone, and then you send him you know, a packet of food to compensate for that. So I believe that the whole thing that is happening is connected with politics and money. And let's be sincere, we need to see the problem. We cannot say, oh, it's happening by itself. It's not happening by itself. It is being perpetuated, and it seems like we cannot do anything about it. It seems like it's out of our control. So only what we can do is send a little money here, a little money there, go to a concert for peace or for Africa or for Yemen, or, you know, assist in some way. And it's okay, it's good. You need to do that too. But
We
I
do
think
what
that
we
it's
can
very
do.
important.
I understand
Yes,
you. We
with
do
everything,
what we can
everything
do.
possible. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think we need to become more aware of what is the true condition of our society, what is really happening, to open our eyes completely. Because if you don't see, it's like in therapy, if you don't see what is the problem and where the problem comes from,
Yes.
what are the roots of the
Yeah.
problem, you're fighting with the symptoms. And fighting with the symptoms is a dead end. The Buddha said it 3,000 years ago almost.
Yeah. And one more thing, I'm sorry, is like that. Usually people blame, you know,
Yeah,
capitalism, communism, socialism, and this and that and that and that and that. And people forget that who creates all these things are the human beings. And
exactly.
my proposition,
Exactly.
my proposition, my proposition is that psychology, we psychologists, and not only the anthropologists, and not only the sociologists, that we look at the evolution of human being and try to understand better that evolution, not from Darwin points of view, not from anthropologists, etc., etc.
Yes, yes,
How we psychologists, if we look since the beginning, since Homero, since Iliada, since before that, you know, human beings started, many human beings, not all, of course, but the majority started a process of destruction that never ends, you
yes,
know. So
yes,
what brings humans
yes,
to be like that? Even if we
yes,
go in Freud
yes.
will talk about that. Reich
And,
will
And
talk.
Reich spoke about that. Reich spoke about that too.
Yes,
Yes, he
yes,
spoke of the psychology of fascism, the
but
invasion of sexual morality,
maybe
etc.
maybe we should talk more about that evolution of the human
Yes,
beings to try to understand this whole evolutionary
yes.
process. Uh,
We
So,
have we have very important tools to be able to process what is happening in our world. We have the knowledge of transgenerational trauma, which is being repeated and perpetuated and repeated. So this is something we need to communicate, that if you are traumatized, you may be traumatizing to others too. And it's your responsibility to deal with your trauma. How many families hide the trauma of the father who's traumatizing and abusing the whole family, just to have someone to support the family? Our society is punishing, blaming, and finger pointing to the guilty ones. We're looking for the guilty one. And this is the wrong
yeah,
attitude. We need
Yes.
to say, to face the problem, but not criticizing, but being able to discriminate. What is happening? What is the issue? How can we help? We are being taught from our childhood, who is guilty, who will go to hell, and who will go to heaven. And this attitude, which I'm sorry to say, is partly also being perpetuated by religions, worldwide religions. Punishment. Punishment never helped anyone to develop. It's only blocking the true expression of yourself. And then you can never heal. You're hiding your problem. Even from if your superego in therapy is very hard, if you discover something about yourself, which might be very helpful for your healing, what will happen? You will punish yourself about it, you will be guilty about it, you suppress it, and it goes even deeper. So this is one of the main issues: punishment, self-punishment, punishment of others. You attacked me, I have the right to attack you and kill you. I don't say you shouldn't defend yourself. No, no means. Of course, we need to defend ourselves. It's part of our duty to the life that was given to us to defend ourselves. But we have the problem of narration. And I wanted to say that in our talk. For me, it was a very big discovery, understanding the meaning of narration, how important narration is for a human being. If you narrate to yourself, for example, that what I'm doing now is justified because of this ideology, because of this belief, because of this theory, because of this tradition, and you lose the direct heart connection of your humanness to another human being, or to any life, anything, any living being around you or our earth, then through ideology, you create ideologism. Ideologism is an excuse to perpetuate the triumph of trauma and ego on life. So you're not really assisting life. You may even go against your own life, your own evolution, your own prosperity and happiness. But you have an excuse, a narration which allows you to perpetuate your suffering and the suffering of the others. So we have to see, I think that one of the main problems that we have as a human being is our capacity to formulate meanings and frames of meanings, and then we're trapped into them and we believe them as the absolute truth. And this is how fascism is perpetuated. This is how religious fanaticism is perpetuated, how national, massacres and genocides are being perpetuated. Because you believe, you have a belief that this is the right thing, and you forget what your body tells you. I mean, I know, and I've seen often and again, when there is something horrible, the natural thing for a human being is to vomit, is to collapse, is to cry, is to suffer in horror.
Yeah.
Is to reflect with mirror neurons what's happening to the other being and suffer together. But we live in a civilization which, even in ancient Greece, they thought that killing the enemy is a virtue. And Jesus Christ came, and I'm not a fanatic religious, but the truths that Jesus gave, the main basic truths, not hell and these things, but to love each other like you love yourself. Love yourself, love the other as you love yourself. Like, don't do to someone else what you don't like to be done to you. Like, you forgive the others and you ask to be forgiven too. That were the main teachings that he left, and we're sure that these were his main teachings, not something created afterwards by I don't know who. Now, that's what he brought. That's what the Buddha brought. The basic humanness of the human being, which is being covered by any different versions of, I saw the truth, and the truth is, if you kill the enemies of your religion, you'll go to heaven. Or if you have to fight for spreading your religion, or your nation is the best in the world and you need to conquer the rest, or your family is the best family and it needs to conquer the others and become as rich as possible. These are narrations which give an excuse for the destruction of ourselves, because they are suffering too. They're destroying the others, and they're destroying their own soul, their essence, because our essence can thrive only when we are human, and we're human to ourselves and to the others next to us. Otherwise, it can't be done. It's impossible, and they don't know it. But we need to spread this. I cannot be happy. Yes, we're in agreement.
We have an agreement.
Yes.
Beliefs is something that we are going to talk next time, because beliefs are such a big thing.
Yes.
Panagiotis,
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much too. Thank you so much
for sharing with me. I hope we can do it again in the near future, to keep elaborating, to keep reflecting about such important issues, and at least this can be a way to help humans to get better by reflecting, by talking, by sharing, and not by doing war and destroying.
Yes, and I will be happy if we share also some basic tools. We started this already, how to be able in this situation to contain what is happening, and to be able to process it and not be overwhelmed by what is happening. Not be overwhelmed. So, thank you very much for your invitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you again soon, and continue the good work.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. Have a good work.
You too.
We shall keep in contact.
Yes. Bye.
Bye, Panagiotis. Bye.
Bye, Rubens. Bye.